Imagine a casino where everyone wants a seat at the table. To play the game, you first have to buy the house's chips. In the global energy market, that casino is the trade of crude oil, and the exclusive chips are United States dollars. This rule was set in 1971. Before that, every US dollar was backed by physical gold stored in vaults. But as the US spent more on wars and social programs, foreign countries started to worry. To protect the nation's gold supply, President Richard Nixon announced that the world could no longer trade dollars for gold. The dollar's value began to slide. Then, in 1973, conflict in the Middle East led to an oil embargo against the US. Energy prices spiked, gas stations ran out of fuel, and the American economy faced a crisis it wasn't prepared for. Without gold, the United States needed a new way to anchor its value. Washington had to find a way to make sure that every country in the world still had a reason to hold and use the US dollar. In 1974, Secretary of State Henry Kissinger helped broker a quiet deal with Saudi Arabia. At the time, the Saudi kingdom was the world's most influential oil producer. The agreement changed the world's financial landscape for the next 50 years. The U.S. promised to provide the Saudi monarchy with high-tech weapons and military protection. In return, Saudi Arabia agreed to sell its oil only in U.S. dollars. This is the origin of the petrodollar. It's the same currency you use at the grocery store, but it's dedicated to one specific job: buying and selling the world's energy. Because oil is the lifeblood of every modern economy, this pact meant every nation, from Japan to Brazil, had to keep a massive supply of US dollars in their reserves just to keep their lights on. It created a constant global demand for American money. By selling so much oil in dollars, countries like Saudi Arabia soon had more US cash than they could possibly spend at home. They were sitting on piles of chips they couldn't use in their own local markets. To put that cash to work, they recycled it, sending those dollars back to the United States by buying treasury bonds. This stream of incoming loans allows the U.S. government to fund its budget deficits, pay for social programs, and keep interest rates low. This loop gives America what experts call exorbitant privilege. It means the United States can fund its global network of military bases using the wealth generated by the rest of the world's energy needs. But running the global casino comes with a catch. Because these deals happen in dollars, they have to pass through the US-controlled banking system. That makes the United States the ultimate bouncer. If a country breaks the rules, Washington can lock the doors. They can freeze a nation's bank accounts and cut them off from global trade, essentially starving their economy until they comply. This gives Washington a level of leverage that no other country can match, but it also forces the players who have been kicked out to start looking for a way to build their own casino. That alternative is being built by the BRICS alliance, a strategic coalition of emerging economies. They are working together to find a way to trade and grow without needing a seat at the US dollar's table. China, the world's biggest oil importer, is leading the charge. It's now using its own currency, the Chinese yuan, to buy energy from countries like Russia and Iran. This new system is being called the Petro Yuan. For the first time in 50 years, the dollar's monopoly on oil is cracking. The market is shifting from a world with one set of rules to a world where multiple currencies are competing for power. Until recently, there was a technical problem. Moving money globally almost always required routing the transaction through systems monitored by the US. Even if you used different money, the bouncer was still watching the plimps. This is Project Mbridge, a digital platform by central banks that bypasses the West. It uses blockchain to allow direct trade. Here, digital yuan is instantly swapped for digital dirhams. It settles in seconds, peer-to-peer, without touching a US bank or a single dollar. This provides the actual plumbing needed for other countries to run their own economies. It means the threat of US sanctions is no longer the final word. In early 2026, this standoff moved from the bank vault to the battlefield. A conflict in the Middle East threatened the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow passage where 20% of the world's oil flows. Iran established a toll system for any ship wanting safe passage through these waters. They charged $1 for every barrel of oil on board. Iran insisted that this toll be paid only in Chinese yuan, or digital coins designed to mirror the dollar's value. By setting these specific rules, they effectively locked the US dollar out of the very trade it used to dominate. The US dollar is still the easiest currency to trade and the one most people trust. But for 50 years, it was the only option for anyone who wanted to buy energy. Today, those neon signs across the street are flashing to life, and the house's monopoly is officially over.